Today, we're diving into how images don't just show us the world, they actually help create it. We're surrounded by visuals all day, every day, but we rarely stop to ask a really important question.
Do they just act as a window, a simple record of things that happen?
Or are they active players on the world stage, shaping what we believe and literally building the reality we live in? Well, let's find out. This idea is so big, there's a whole field of study for it: visual international politics. And it starts with a pretty simple premise, but it's a powerful one. Images don't just reflect what's happening globally, they actively construct it. And in our world today, that is a critical distinction.
I mean, just think about it for a second. When you hear about some major global event, what's the very first thing you see? It's probably a photo on your phone, a news clip, a meme, right? We are getting our first and often most powerful understanding of the world through our eyes. So how do we even begin to make sense of what these images are doing to us?
Well, to unpack all of this, experts use two key concepts. You can think of them as two different lenses, two different ways of looking at an image. It's really the difference between what an image means and what an image does.
Okay, so on the one hand, you've got visibility. This is all about treating an image like a text you can read. You analyze it, you decode its symbols, and you try to figure out the political or corporate power that created it. This is all about thinking visually. But then, on the other hand, there's visuality. And this isn't about reading, it's about feeling. It asks, what does this image do to me? How does it make me feel, and how does it connect me to other people who are feeling the exact same way? This is feeling visually.
So with visibility, you're basically a detective. You're looking at an image and you're asking, okay, who made this? Why this angle? What are they not showing me? What's the message they're trying to sneak in here? You're deconstructing it to find that hidden meaning.
Visuality, though, that's a whole different ballgame. It's less about the meaning behind the image and more about the reality it creates. It's how an image can just bypass our rational brain, hit us right in the gut, and pull us into this shared emotional experience, what experts call an affective community. Let's see how this actually works.
So to make this really concrete, we're going to look at two fascinating case studies: a strangely prophetic map and, believe it or not, a crude Hollywood comedy that accidentally kicked off an international incident.
Okay, so check this out. This map pops up back in 2012, and it looks like some kind of secret intelligence document. It shows a totally fractured Europe and a much bigger Russia. And get this, it even seemed to predict Russia's annexation of Crimea 2 years before it happened. So if we put on our visibility glasses, we have to ask, where did this official-looking thing even come from?
Well, the reality is kind of wild. It turns out it wasn't an intelligence document at all. It actually started as a prank by a Ukrainian horror novelist. Then a Russian tabloid published it. From there, the really influential magazine Foreign Policy reported on it, which gave it this huge dose of credibility. And that created a feedback loop, making the map seem even more real and powerful back in Russia. The map's meaning wasn't fixed, it was built up as it traveled around the internet. But here's the thing, and this is where we swap our glasses and look through the lens of visuality. In the end, it didn't really matter that the map was a prank. What mattered is what it did. It provoked real emotions, fear for some, pride for others, and outrage for a whole lot of people. It connected them on a gut level, creating new political feelings without anyone needing to read the fine print. So, the map is a great example of how an image creates a feeling. But sometimes an image is read so intensely that it's seen as a direct threat to national security. This phenomenon is called visual securitization. And a perfect, if totally surprising example is the 2014 comedy The Interview.
The movie, this crude satire about assassinating Kim Jong-un, was never meant to be a serious political statement. But that is exactly how it was read by North Korea, which called it an act of terrorism. Then, the US government stepped in to defend free expression. And just like that, as the source material says, comedians become security actors. The image itself, the movie, became the security event. It was a totally unintended consequence of how it was interpreted. Okay, so now we're going to pivot to a much darker and way more complex example. We're going to look at how the terrorist group ISIS used visual media not just to spread fear, but as a really sophisticated tool for building a state. This is the strategy of visuality taken to its absolute extreme.
When you hear ISIS videos, your mind probably goes straight to one thing: their absolutely horrific, shocking violence. And yeah, those videos were definitely part of their strategy to project power and terror.
But here's the twist. What the research shows is that
The vast majority of their media output wasn't about violence at all. It was about building a utopian vision. They produced countless videos focused on governance, on social welfare, on creating this image of a perfect, functioning caliphate that was happening right here, right now.
And the production quality was wild. I mean, they created these slick videos that look like public service announcements. One video uses the visual language of a hospital drama to promote their health services and recruit doctors. Another one looks like a farm-to-table ad, showing off their bakeries to promise food security. This wasn't just about intimidation. It was a visual campaign to build an actual society.
And the scale? It was just staggering. They pumped out over 9,000 videos in just a few years. And it worked. It helped persuade more than 30,000 people from all over the world to leave their homes and join them. This wasn't just propaganda. This was an incredibly effective visual campaign.
So the really crucial point here is that these videos were an exercise in what's called visual governance. The whole goal was to create a biopolitical utopia, a place that looks after its people. The videos were designed to make people feel a sense of belonging, to feel cared for, to feel like they were already home. It was a pure and terrifyingly powerful use of the visuality strategy.
Okay, so we've gone from prank maps to Hollywood comedies to state-building videos. What on earth is the big takeaway from all of this?
Well, the key thing to remember is this. Images are never neutral. They are always doing political work. And now we have two ways to see it. We can think visually, like a detective, to analyze an image's meaning and the power structures behind it. But we also have to feel visually, to understand how an image moves us and builds new communities. And to truly understand our world today, we have to be able to do both. So I'll leave you with this. The next time an image stops you in your scroll, don't just ask what it means. Ask what it's doing. What is this image asking you to feel? Because that feeling, that might be the most political thing about it. Thanks for tuning in.